Welcome into the half. My name is Aaron Montgomery. This is Erich Campbell. If you guys remember him, he's back to the land of the living. Eric, I know you're still
Partially.
not quite there, but your color looks good. You look great, man. So that's a positive.
Yeah, we can thank the ring light for adding color, I think, is probably where that's coming from because
Shh, don't
I
tell them your
still feel pretty
secrets.
washed out. But I am here and I will make the attempt. I'm sure I'm going to sound a little low energy today. Believe me, this is as good as it's gotten for a while.
All right. Well, I'll bring the high energy then. How about that? We'll balance each
Please,
other out.
please feel free.
Yeah, I'm excited about Friday today.
For sure.
Nothing
And we already
particular other than
came from a very high energy show. If you guys didn't see, we had the folks behind the Everything Embroidery Market were on, so that was a pretty good show. We had a lot of high energy, a lot of excitement about what was going on there, as well as your classes are going on there. So that was a pretty cool way to start the day. So if you haven't checked it out, go back for the two regular guys and see what we had going on with those folks. Had Hope and Christine on, so it was really cool.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
All right, well, let's get going here. Lyndon, good morning from North Carolina. Excuse me.
Morning, Lyndon.
And then the U's from our good friend Todd at Fat Dad Wholesale.
Yo, what's up?
And then good afternoon, Chuck. Thank you for being here. And then we've got our good friend Jeff Fuller and Adam Fuller as well.
So Adam of bjjhats.com. I always give him the free pub whenever I can. And of course, Jeff of both the Embroidery Nerd and Fuller Embroidery Works. So good to have you guys in.
Have you guys here. And it was fun to meet Jeff and Adam in person there in Kansas City. In fact, my 10-year-old got to hang out with Adam, and Adam's 11, I believe. But I think they talked probably some Roblox, some games, some YouTube videos, whatever it is that 10, 11-year-olds discuss. I know Lewis was pretty excited to have met Adam. So that was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then Barb, happy Friday to you. And Christine Shreve from the Applique Getaway joining us. Thanks for being here, Christine.
Yes,
nice to see you again. And Women in Business Podcast and Women in Garment Decorating.
Especially with International Women's Day recently this week, and which, by the way, is my wife's birthday, appropriately so.
There you go.
So yeah, very cool stuff coming out there, and seeing Christine doing other great stuff and being mentioned at other places and Promo Kitchen, among others. So
there you
really
go.
Cool stuff going on, Christine. So kudos.
She's killing it as usual. So
absolutely.
Make sure you're tuned into all things Christine Shreve and
100%.
Great stuff happening for sure. And then for your wife's birthday, Eric, did she get a happy Princess Day or anything like that? She take good care of her?
Here's the thing about her birthday, unfortunately, is when you are doing medical school and you have a final the next morning, you don't get much of a birthday, which I understand because I spent mine in a hotel room in Kansas City. We both kind of both of us this year were like, well, we'll just try that birthday thing again later.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ramona, thanks for tuning in there. Again, listen only mode. That's all good. We're not going to get any prettier, so you're fine just listening. So.
This is absolutely true.
Good almost afternoon. It's freezing there in Texas. Yeah, we had a little snow here in the St. Louis area. So how's it in the Albuquerque area there?
A little bit of frozen rain, kind of sleety snow yesterday too, but cold, but not bad.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So we got Marianne joining us from MAS in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Welcome in and good to see you again. Let's see here. Terry says, happy Friday, gentlemen. I think she's using that term loosely, but that's okay.
We do what we can.
Yeah, that's right. So she says, glad you're feeling better, Eric.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm human. I've been human for a couple of days now instead of just a puddle. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to be upright. That would be nice. So.
Yeah, for sure. And then good friend Jeremy Picker.
Who, by the way, also doing awesome stuff and getting to give some really great talks. So check out stuff that Jeremy's doing. He's absolutely killing it out there, talking about branding and merch and design. Honestly, everything. He's just on it. So check out what Jeremy's doing.
I love listening to him and learning from him and stuff like that. He's just got such a cerebral approach to it too, where it's really like he's got a clear vision of what he's trying to do, what he's trying to share, but then he's got this amazing amount of creativity that just kind of makes it so fun too. So.
I know, and a definite sense of style and stylistic cues. So Jeremy always it's always inspirational to see what he's putting out there.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Good evening, Heather. So thanks for tuning in. Heather, where are you coming from? That makes it
let us know.
evening there. Yeah, for sure. And then we've got Cindy, blustery here in Minnesota.
I
Is
bet.
is that not fairly regular this time of year for a good chunk of? Yeah, that's Minnesota. My wife's from Minnesota, and I don't understand how she could be from Minnesota because she's cold all the time. I'm like, did you left Minnesota and they just took away your Minnesota card, or what happened there?
That happens though. I mean, my mom is from Wisconsin and she does not like cold whatsoever and has been
Okay.
living down here
Yeah.
in Albuquerque, New Mexico forever, but
Yeah.
has
Well,
no
she did leave.
tolerance for
Yeah.
it.
My wife did live in Phoenix for 10 years. So maybe that's where she lost her
I think
Minnesota.
I think once you get away, you don't want it back. I don't want to say that because like I love going other places. I love being in places that are interesting and new and different. But
Yeah.
it's really hard once you're in New Mexico for any period of time to
Yeah.
want to dig your car out. That's
Sure.
that's the thing I remember. Every time we talk about it, I'm like, oh, let's go live up somewhere up north or just up in Colorado further up. And I'm like, okay, but keep me below the line where I have to dig my car out. That's all. I'm just not.
I
I'm
get it.
not fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
I
good.
get it. All right. Chuck says, glad to see you with us, Eric.
Thank you much, Chuck.
Jeff, Adam is newly 11. So yes,
And by the way, and doing cool projects. You got to go see the cool stuff that Adam's
yeah.
doing. The so along stuff that he's going to be doing shortly with the In the Hoop plushies. It's super cool. And that was another thing. I got a wonderful surprise from Adam and Jeff on my birthday, where they brought me one of their first prototype plushies for their Nerd Star, if you know what that is,
cool.
from the Embroidery Nerd, and that was super cool. So you saw that online. I'm very thankful, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Christine says, thanks, Eric. It's been lovely to be included in all this fabulous stuff.
Oh, well deserved. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
You're doing the thing.
Yep. Kristen, happy to see you're feeling better, Eric. So good. I'm glad everybody is wishing you well, and
thank you much.
As am I. And then Marianne, happy sweet birthday to your wife.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I hope she gets a better time of it soon. We can get her some time off, but yeah, it's I think sometimes that's what you have to figure out. But you know what? I think that's something that Aaron and I have talked about before. If you want to do something extraordinary, prepare yourself to live a life that's not as ordinary as you might expect. If you want to do things that are beyond the ordinary, wherever that is, if that's you're running your own business, if you're going for advanced degrees, if you're teaching classes on top of your career, because it's stuff that I'm seeing a lot of these people doing things just like that. A lot of our people now are doing content, are doing things outside of their businesses, but you have to prepare yourself to sometimes have to change your plans and not live like everybody else does if they're going to, kind of have all that off time that most of us don't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
I feel for her having a rough birthday. Prepping for a final is not a fun birthday.
Yeah. Well, it's a means to an end. She's on her way. So I love it.
This is true.
All right. Cindy talking to Barb saying, stay warm. And Christine, human is good. It's no fun when you're sick.
100%. Yeah.
Like
I said, I'm definitely not all the way. I'm on the road to human, but hey, that's that's a better place to be.
Yep. And then Bevy Jean talking to Barb here, just made the connection to you from our Saturday class with
Nice.
Romero.
Hey, I'd love to see people make connections. That's what we do this thing. This is why we bring everybody together and why classes are important. Love it.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Love it. So this is a note to not invite Christine to places like Phoenix or other warm places because she says she likes the cold. Hot weather makes me homicidal. So
hey, no lie, the height of summer is not my game either. What I keep on thinking is I would like to just stay temperate all year long. I need 2 houses. I just I want to live in fall for the rest of my life. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And Christine says garages, Eric. That's how they eliminate digging the cars out. There you go.
It doesn't eliminate driving around in the slush and sliding all over the place, though. You can't tell me
that's you still have to dig your driveway out to get into your garage.
Just, like I said, no hate toward cold weather. Believe me, now that more people are working remotely than ever, that's what I told my wife. We can live anywhere. Just make sure that internet connection's stable. I'll never leave the house during the winter. That's fine.
There you go. All right.
Anyway,
Jeremy, thank you for
hey, man.
being here. Appreciate it.
Well deserved once again.
Yep. Adeline says, hello. It's cold in Northern Illinois too, 28, but sunny. So there you go.
Oh, hey, that does help. That does help.
All right.
Yeah,
there we go. So Heather coming in from Bonnybridge, Scotland. All right.
Awesome.
Nice. And we even get the 24-hour time that nobody in the U.S. could even comprehend most of the time. But so I love it. That you making us smarter, Heather. That's awesome.
Every time.
And then Craig says snow tomorrow in the Northeast. Yeah, it just came through the Midwest here, so it's heading your way, Craig. So prepare. Let's see here. Ramona asked, "Did you see those Easter plushies? Sweet."
Yeah, cool stuff. Like I said, go check out what's going on with Adam and see what he's doing, and honestly, all the people over at Embroidery Nerd too. Just cool
Yep.
stuff.
There you go. Uh, Jeff says, "I don't mind the cold, but I despise moving snow." There you go.
Exactly. Yeah, that is me all day long. The only thing I'll say about that is I'm not a big gym workout guy. I would rather dig a ditch. I'd rather break up rocks than go to the gym most of the time. Anything that was partially productive. And so that's the only thing I think is I would just be in a lot better shape because there'd be no choice.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we got
Anyway,
I believe a real question here. Eric, I had someone send me an image that I know is a stock image. It has been their logo and the person that was doing it is no longer around. How do I find it or deal with this issue? Don't want to step on the person who originally did the image. Any thoughts there, Eric?
that is such a hard question because the truth of the matter is copyright is copyright. Once something is created, somebody has the rights to that. That is not i- there's one of these things where sometimes people say, "Oh yeah, but nobody's going to care." And that may be true, but you're always exposing yourself if you're reproducing something that someone else owns.
Yeah.
And also, I'll say this, I've seen people co-opt someone's old thrown away logo and then find out that later on that company decides retro is in and they see that people have an interest in their old throwaway logo and suddenly they're coming for you.
Yeah.
It really depends on what we're talking about. There have been times where somebody has brought me something where we've got a stock design that maybe they purchased or they're trying to purchase and the embroidery company's not around. I can see reproducing it and say you're probably, if nothing else through obscurity, you're probably not going to have any problems. But I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to give you legal advice. The truth
Yeah.
of the matter is, if it's a copyrighted image and you know that it comes from a place
Yeah.
where someone else has created it, you are exposing yourself to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reproducing it.
Yeah.
That's just that is the legal truth of the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. It's not a
Yeah.
value judgment. We can talk about how broken copyright is all day long. But if you know it comes from some other creator, that's going to be a judgment call as to whether or not you want to risk that.
Yeah.
Certainly, I'll put it this way: I wouldn't then make a stock design of it and sell it openly. If I had a single customer who needs a garment that they want to use that design plus some text on it, that might be a judgment call where I might say, all right, I have done my due diligence trying to find this thing and I can't get it. I'm going to create it for this single customer. There's some argument there, but you are always exposing yourself
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
some degree
And
to issues.
yeah. And so I'll go back to this. And Dean, I know
For
you
sure.
were there on Wednesday night too. Dean's part of the Our Success Group community.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a training this last Wednesday night with Jimmy Lamb about copyright and trademark. And it was
Yeah.
actually really interesting, kind of giving us the look at it from like, what does all that mean for a
Yeah.
product decorator, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jimmy's not an attorney either, and he was very
Yeah.
clear about that. But the thing that I might suggest, Dean, and maybe you've already looked at this, just kind of how I'm reading it, maybe you can go back to the person who sent you the image and just say, hey, can I get some documentation that this, you have rights to use this design? I've noticed that this is out there in some other places. And so I just want to make sure that we're protected. So, neither of us is getting in trouble because every time, like I walked into a little craft store here, I guess it was yesterday, and they had all these tumblers, and the tumblers, they had like a Bud Light one, they had a
Mm,
Kansas City Chiefs
mm,
one, and I'm like, because if you look at that, if they ever get caught, that's
yeah.
a minimum of $750 for each of those items. That
Yeah.
is going to be part of that fine that you have to pay. Minimum of
Minimum.
$750
Yeah.
each. So if they sold 100 of those things, that's at least $7,500 in fines that they'll have to pay. And somebody like the NFL, somebody like Anheuser Busch, they're not going for the minimum. They will be having their very high paid attorneys work to get as much as possible out of you. So protecting ourselves and having some documentation, I think, is really important.
I think that's absolutely the case. Um, it really depends on what it is too. I hate to say because there's a very big difference in my mind, at least. And though this, like I said, not a lawyer, still the legal stuff is way gray.
Yeah.
If someone is coming to you with a stock design from an old embroidery company of an elk head, something natural, something evident,
Yeah.
but it is definitely something that they produced, you cannot buy it, you cannot find it. Company is out of business, design doesn't exist anymore. All someone has is a old scanned picture of it. Reproducing that is a very different thing to Kansas City Chiefs logo. That is
Yeah.
a very different item and less likely to if anything, cause issues. Not to mention, if you've made one of them, like Aaron says, your exposure is different than if you make a line of the things or 100
Yeah.
of the things.
Yeah.
But it is difficult with because stock designs. It depends on what you mean by that. Certain
Yeah.
kinds of clip art designs, there's a very different world than, of course, logos and logo types, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. For sure.
But still, inevitably, if somebody else made it and you're making it now and you don't have rights, you're always afoul of it. There's
Yeah.
almost nothing unless it's in public domain, and it very likely is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. Todd says Eric looks way better than I did last week, so he
I
was
said
under the
my
weather.
my ring light is on the warm setting, and I think it is helping.
Good. Good. There you go. Bevy Jean says, I'm a northern gal too, but don't like the cold weather either. As far as snowbanks, it's a two-edged sword. Usually, if you slide down the road and hit the snowbank, less damage to the car, but you're still in a snowbank. So
True, true, true.
And then Cindy says, "Oh no, Christine, is going to be in Texas in the middle of summer. So look
I'll
out."
say that Austin at the wrong time. And okay, I hot is not a problem for me. It's the humid that I can't take. And
Yeah,
I went to Austin, Texas, and like there was just it was warm outside and water was still beating up on the cars. I thought I was going to die.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is more moisture than I'm good for, folks. So
yeah.
I'll agree with her on
There you
that.
go. All right. So Kristen says we drive a lot of Subaru outbacks in Minnesota because of the snow.
I believe it.
Christine, I have to admit, I've avoided driving on a lot of snowy roads this winter. Working from home makes a difference. Let's see here. I'm trying to get through a bunch of these here. I just did some super nice looking caps from
Nice.
Outdoor, trying to find replacements for Richardson's. Yeah, it sounds like a
That
common
that
theme.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Though honestly, that is the way to be, though, folks. I mean, there does come a point. I understand that because there are certain customers who just put their feet down, but if they haven't put their foot down yet, alternatives are always worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Marianne, agreeing with the education part and what your wife's got going on there. Her daughter
Mhm.
got her doctorate in education last May for the past year or so. Birthdays
Yeah.
and celebrations have not been in schedule. Hopefully soon we can get back to normal. Congrats to
Yeah.
all continuing their education, and then sharing that there's a light dusting of snow in Santa Fe and creating bunny butts for fake. Am I right with that? Or did I blow that?
I do not know.
Okay.
I'm gonna hope that's something that you're making crafty that I don't get.
Uh,
But yeah,
uh,
making some
for
cool stuff with
fake
model clay.
baking with model clay. So
All right.
interesting. Very cool.
Cool.
Um, and then talking
Yeah.
about Dean's question. So here's another thing I might share. I'm still talking to Jimmy, but with our success group, we have training. And then the week later, we do an implementation call where we
Oh,
get a
cool.
chance to come
Very
back
cool.
on Zoom and talk about specifics in the OSG community's business. I'm still working with Jimmy to see if I can get him back into that call. So we'll see if he's available, but we'll definitely get that in front of Jimmy as well. So Jeff says, here's my legal advice: talk to a lawyer.
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, that has to be the end result with most of these conversations.
Yeah, yeah. They could have purchased the rights that covers them to use it on their logo for sure.
Quite possibly.
Yep. And then Marianne says, if I create a stock logo for a client, I share with them that it's a stock logo and they may see it elsewhere because all inverters have access to stock logos if you're fine with that. Yep.
Yeah,
And
I've
Dean
had some people who do that where they have something custom, but they want it created as stock, but to get out of the cost. That
yeah,
we'll talk about that when I
yeah,
I
yeah.
have somebody who has that question.
There you go.
But yeah.
And Dean said it's a horse head. Talking about Christine being homicidal in the heat. Obviously, all joking, everybody. So it's okay.
No.
Yes, she mentioned that she did the whole Texas thing in July last year and survived. It was hot there. I remember that. Air conditioning is my friend for sure.
It should be. It should be out there.
Yeah. And Brian Bufka shares copyright infringements is punishable by up to $250,000 and 10 years in prison per copy. So.
Well, and there's an entire question of what damage you've actually done and what, if the thing was sellable and there's a lot to it. It's more complicated than we're ever going to get into on the
Yeah,
half
it
rant.
is super complicated, but
It's super complicated. But
if
yeah,
you're talking about that's the max, right? But then even at the minimum,
yeah,
right? I mean, how many of those do you have to sell? Oh wait, you have to
yeah,
sell them all at $1,000 a piece to be able to make money if you're having
yeah.
to pay.
I would say
Uh,
there are times where it's like, yeah, I don't know. If it was a stock horse head they were already using in a logo that just can't be found, they've already been using it. It's in their original
yeah,
embroidered gear that they've been wearing, but they can't get the stock horse head again and they're coming to a new company. That is a very different thing that I'm saying is not likely to probably land you in hot
yeah,
water.
absolutely. I agree.
Legally, technically, yeah, you're still exposing yourself to some degree. The chances of random stock design company finding you using the one horse head, eh,
Yeah, totally.
meh. One of those things. I don't know what to say about that. That is definitely within that gray area. It's not where people come up and go, "Oh no, seriously, I'm just going to use X football team's logo just on one thing." And I'm like, "No, you just sold that the football team logo. You're messed. You're done. Like
Yeah,
that's bad."
yeah,
Somebody shows me Harley or Disney, and I'm like, "Just don't. I don't have any questions
yeah,
whatsoever."
yeah.
Random horse head
I,
inside of somebody's logo,
yeah.
way more gray.
Like I said, walking into that craft store, I was like, "Crap, I gotta get out of here before I get in trouble." I just felt
Yeah, no, there's a lot of gift
it's not that bad.
stores
I'm
or
just kidding, but
browsing on Etsy. I'm sorry, Etsy gets a lot of trouble
uh,
for it, but they deserve it.
yes, they do
Etsy
deserve
is
it.
awful for that stuff.
Freaking
Totally.
yes. Anyhow, we won't go there. All right.
No.
Kristen says outdoor OC 771 was recommended as a replacement for Richardson. So
Yeah, don't know
um,
it off the top of my head, but hey, that's
that's
something
a
to check out, guys. Go
great
look.
suggestion. Yeah, I can't tell you how often I hear that. Like, anybody have any Richardsons? Or and it's like, okay. At what
I
point
get
did?
it.
But hold on a second. At, at what point does Richardson go, "Hey, we've got a problem here," right? I mean, this is like the thing, and I guess it's popular, but at a certain point, they're
Yeah.
killing their business in the future, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Is like it just depends on if people make the shift. If you make people uncomfortable enough to make the shift, they may not make the shift back.
Yeah,
That's what I would love to warn people when they're in that position, because
yeah,
I've been on both sides of that. I've also been like that as a decorator, where we couldn't fit an order in. Somebody decided to make a shift to another decorator, and they don't come back. Sometimes
yeah,
you have to know that. Sometimes when you turn down business or you can't fix a supply problem, that can be the end of your relationship with somebody. It leaves an opening. It
yeah,
surely
for
does.
sure. Yep. It's the Seth Godin blog that I love, and I'll try to
Mm-hmm.
find a link to it. But if you just go search for "Don't Break the Chain" by Seth Godin,
Mm-hmm.
that's the concept to me, right? Yeah, you don't want to give your customers an opportunity to look elsewhere, right? Don't give them a
Yeah.
reason, right?
Yeah.
Again, you can't control everything, and you're going
No.
to do the best that you can. But at a certain point, like in the situation with Richardson, they gotta make a different decision. It's like, okay, you can't get containers. Figure out how to get them air freighted in. Then I mean, they're hats. It's not like these are super heavy, and I know that there's some bulk to them, and I know all of it. I've imported stuff from China. I get the whole scenario. But at the end of the day, these are your customers that you are hurting, and if you don't give a crap about that, then you're gonna run out of customers.
Oh yeah, and this is what I really love from Jeff, and I love this comment. I'm bringing
Yeah,
this in. I want the same stuff we bought last year. Tons of people say that. So if last year you used outdoor because you couldn't find Richardson, now they're
yeah,
dating outdoor forever. That is how decorators work. That
yeah,
absolutely is how the real world of decorators works. You just if someone asks for the last thing and you can get it, you will.
yeah,
So that's once you're right. Once that chain is broken, it can be over. And what I'm amazed to see this, Jeremy says, I've resorted to full custom overseas to replace Richardson.
yeah,
So he's having full custom caps made.
yeah,
That is, like I said, there are openings. And now, what I like about this though, sometimes, is that now that makes decorators bringing people back to the concept that you could get full custom done. I don't think a lot of people even thought about that as an option,
yeah.
and I'm seeing more people at least look at it. And I saw, honestly, when out at the shows, I saw more people who were able to produce caps from either from overseas or even some US companies where they're ramping up production because the desire is there, because the need is there, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes there's good results out of it, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
because people are
I,
seeing that need.
I agree. I love seeing the change, right? And I love seeing all the the creative ways that we're trying to come up with solutions.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, yeah, to Richardson and,
Oh
and
yeah,
Jeremy says here, they've been having issues with inventory
it's
well
true.
before COVID. So,
This is true.
and I'm not as involved as you guys are
No,
on
no,
that
no. Of
side of it,
course,
right?
of
But
course.
but I just from a general, you guys know me, I'm all about customer service and how
Yeah,
you handle that and what you do with your customers. And I've been at a distributor level where, inventory was always, I
yeah.
would, I would sit in meetings all the time when I worked at that distributor, kind of carrying the flag for the customers going, I don't give a crap what your issue is with the inventory. Our customers need this for their business. So figure it out. Right.
Yeah. No, and admittedly, that's the one thing I liked when we used to do when we did online stores. I used to, and this is also a thing that I think I'm not saying that this excuses them from stock problems,
Yeah.
but I used to talk to my vendors before I would build the online stores and talk to them about longevity of product. I would talk to them about continuing ability to get things in before I would sell packages to people,
Yeah.
especially if I knew it was something where I'd have a long-term, like a uniforming contract with a company store. That's the kind of thing where you're going to want to try and secure your supply chain, and you should actually make some of those calls before it's sold. Because the other problem I'm seeing people who are crying in the groups for Richardson's. They didn't even look to see if they were possible to get them before they took the order.
Yeah.
Like the orders in hand, deposits in their bank, and now they're looking for stock. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you have missed the boat by now.
Yeah.
We're already too late.
For sure.
And that's rough. That's rough.
All right, we got a whole bunch of other things to get to and
Yeah,
not
please,
much
please.
time. So let's see how quickly we can get through some of this
Let's
stuff
get
and
some
make
more
sure we
comments.
cover as much as we can. Christine says, I love the energy of AG, which
Lovely.
is Applique Getaway for those of you unfamiliar.
Yep.
Check out appliquegetaway.com. And so it's worth being in the hot weather. There's so much fun and love at the event that I can't be homicidal. So there you go. So you just got to be at the right event with heat. That was the trick. And then Muldoon checking in.
Mike,
That's
what's
the
up?
name, Mike. Yeah. So AA Ron, that would be me. Just for those that are sublimation question for you. Okay. So this is really funny that you asked this. How do they do mouse pads with the wrist built in to them? So I have one that is not okay. Here's my mouse pad. Rest built into it, and you see this is how they do it. So you sublimate this part. It's just an 1/8 of an inch piece, and then this is just a tray, and this tray, and I didn't, because I change mine out from time to time. In fact, I need to change this out. It's getting really old and dirty. But some people will super glue them in but it's just a regular mouse pad as far as the decorating part. Anyhow, that's
so the commercial ones that have print over a wrist rest. That's probably, is that done as separate pieces?
That's yes. Okay. Yes.
That panel.
Because yes, that stuff over the wrist rest, that is poly. And so it is being done and then formed after the fact. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That's a little different.
The retail ones that are done like that, I believe, those are done as fabric stock first.
Yeah, correct.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And the heat to make that to encase that is not greater than the sublimation heat. So you decorate first, and then
very cool.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that side of it. I was thinking.
I just wanted to check. Let's just say there was a very particular market where somebody asked me about mouse pads, and I was pretty sure that's how it was done. But yeah, suffice to say, there are some specialty mouse pads with built-in wrist rests that somebody wanted to make, and I'm like, you're probably not going to do those after they're put together.
Yeah. All right. Dean says, in Texas, when you get out of the shower, you don't even have to dry off. You just stay wet all day.
That's miserable. I just can't.
Let's see here. Mike says, I don't get the hype on Richardson. I'm pretty sure Yupong makes them in their factory, so why not just buy Yupong? Is that
honestly? I had the same question. And this back in the day of the snapback trucker hats, there were certain brands, and I don't have to name names on brands. There were certain brands that were destroying needles, had really horrible support materials in them that didn't run well for embroidery.
Wow.
And I just stopped selling those brands. I found lookalikes, and I stopped selling the popular brands. And honestly, most of the time when I could show people the difference in the embroidery quality, it was justified, but it took more customer education because people wanted certain brands. And I invariably, same thing with just structured hats. There are some structured hats that just aren't as good for direct embroidery as others. I try and find that out and not sell the ones that are not fun. But admittedly, I know there's customers who come to you with brands on their mind, but education's worthwhile on this one.
For sure. Man, Richardson,
Yep.
Anyhow, Cindy says Richardson already took all us small business accounts away. Not a big problem because we can order from distributors, just no stock. And this wow.
Yeah, this hurts.
David says, I tried to talk to Richardson rep at the PPAI Expo in January. He asked if I was already a Richardson customer. I told him no, but I'd like to be. He told me that he didn't have time for me and I should go talk to another company. Wow. So here's the deal, Richardson, if you'd like me to come in and fix your customer service problems, I will do that 100%. Now, I will piss off a ton of people internally in Richardson, but if you'll listen and let me do my thing, we'll fix this. I'll have you turned around in 6 months. But you're going to have to make some investments. You're going to have to actually, so it's a whole different ballgame. But
I mean, okay, so we see that they're trouble. And here I was going to talk some smack on Richard.
There we go. And then I saw a comment from Craig in there, dunking mugs in water. Do not dunk your mugs. Okay. Period. Done.
Even when we close, you can't let that one go.
I can't let that one go. Don't dunk your mugs. Bye.
Bye, guys.